Hello and welcome to Dateline Lagos on Channels Television. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. Coming up on the program, Governor Sanwo-Olu holds town hall meeting with Lagos West Senatorial District. State government set to increase non-taxable income from 18% to 40%, and an update on construction of new Massey Children's Hospital. The Lagos State government has mulled the idea of establishing an airline for passenger operations just as the state prepares for the groundbreaking commencement of the construction of its own airport in Lekki. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu disclosed the plan during a town hall meeting with the Lagos West Senatorial District, where he presented his administration's scorecard and also announced the construction of the 4th mainland bridge in the next 2 months.
The People's Town Hall meeting for the Lagos West Senatorial District holding at Balmoral Convention Center, Ikeja, is all part of the open door policy of the administration of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu.
At the breaking of the day, I thank my maker, say I see today. The clouds are fading up, I see the sun rising again, but I still see something new. I see a greater Lagos rising from the womb time. It's a new city being built with grace.
This town hall meeting is an opportunity for the state government to give account of its achievement, and the Commissioner of Information and Strategy takes the lead.
It is our duty to render accounts and assure our army of stakeholders and shareholders that despite the turbulence that we may have felt, that the ship of state is actually in the hands of experienced captains, and it remains very steady. That is what we have come here to do today. Mr. Governor will tell you how far we have gone in our journey to a greater Lagos, since we have invested your votes in him for a second term in office. The philosophy of the Sanwo-Olu AMSAT administration is that for democracy to maintain its essence, the active involvement of the people in governance must be encouraged, and that is what we are doing in Lagos. This is because the citizens, they are the bedrock of democracy. It is therefore in furtherance of this principle that we are gathered here today to further promote our agenda of running an open government, a transparent government, an all-inclusive government through the instrumentality of the Themes Plus agenda.
Governor Sanwo-Olu reels out part of his scorecard, the projects on the way with specific attention on the long-awaited 4th mainland bridge.
We've built more schools in the last 4 years than we've done in the last 8 years prior. We've built more hospitals in the last 4 years than in the last 8 years prior. The records are there. We have intervened almost in all spheres of life. And so we want to do it for the next 3.5 years. We want to even do it faster and quicker for you. And so when environment goes out and says that it's cleaning the right of way, it's because it wants to keep your future. And the future is that we don't want drainage, when rain comes, to sweep out all our buildings. The right of way for the drainage channels have been set. We know that we're a coastal state. We know that in some parts we're beneath the sea level. So we need to be able to stay and understand that when we have drainage right of way, it is for us to be able to take the waters when they come. And some people have turned it into structures they built on it. We will not allow or condone it. So we believe that part of the things that we're doing on our transportation master plan is for us to enhance and improve all the 3 major traffic management solutions. We promise you an integrated urban mass transportation system that uses rail, that uses waterways, that uses road, BRT road. Before the end of February, in fact, the ferries are ready. We're commissioning additional 12 ferries that will be handing over. I don't know if it is new with that ferry that will hand it over, or the private operators that will hand it over. The ferries have been completed. They are doing water testing right now, and each one of them can carry between 35 to 40 passengers on our waterways. This will complement about 20-something other ferries that were procured, that were currently using, so that we can decongest the road and take people to also use our waterways more. And so with the simple cowrie card, Lagos has delivered on our integrated urban mass transportation system. And today, over 4 million Lagosians are carrying the blue cowrie card, and they are commuting from different parts of the city, to be able to continue to enjoy the services. We're working with some of our investors to be able to bring CNG buses and electric vehicles, and electric buses into our city buses. We believe this will help us reduce our greenhouse emission, and our vision to have a zero carbon emission by the year 2050 will be on track. I know people are going to ask me questions around the 4th mainland bridge. Our commitment is that within this first quarter, meaning that by the end of March or April, we should break grounds to start the construction of the 4th mainland bridge. It's going to be built in phases. The phase 1 will be from the junction in Abraham all the way to the waterfront that we have at Baduri, right? And I'm using this opportunity to also say that we have done extensive study. So you cannot get a new road without needing to do a bit of discomfort. But we will ensure that we compensate everybody that their property or their businesses will be disturbed by this new construction. But it's going to be along existing corridors, so there will be few buildings that will be touched. But I want to assure you that not only will the landlord be paid full compensation, places where we have tenants as well too, we'll ensure that we also compensate them, and we'll ensure that nobody is unduly, taking advantage of. So that will be the first thing. The first 2 of it will be the bridge crossing, which will be from the waterfront in Ado all the way to Ibishi in Ikorodu. And the third phase will now take us through all the way to Italewa Junction, all the way from Ibishi. And eventually, if it is this government, another government will take it all the way to Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. That is how the 4th mainland, which is a total of 37 kilometers, will meander all throughout Lagos.
Beneficiaries of the State Empowerment Scheme commend the government.
I was called upon that government has a package for me, and they gave me an oven in 2020, and with that oven, God has been helping me. I've expanded my business. September, from the little shop I'm managing, God gave me another shop, and I'm now an employer of some laborers.
Wọ́n pè mí fún owó 50,000 kí n máa fi tajà. Mo wá dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ bàbá Mr. Babájídé Olúṣọlá Sanwo-Olu ẹni ní Àgùn.
While the religious leaders, traditional rulers and other residents share their areas of concern in the state.
With all the efforts we are making with security outfits in Lagos, if we have established our own state police, we are capable of handling our own insecurity in Lagos. We are always number 1, and we should push for the state policing in Lagos State.
What I like to say is, number 1, whether you are an Okada man or Marwa, they must obey traffic rules and regulations. And we must tell LASMA to apprehend any offenders. A lot of accidents have been happening, and we must checkmate this.
If we can have Ibom Air, why don't we have Lagos Air?
Most of the questions raised are carefully dealt with by the governor.
Regarding the state police, I imagine that is also an ongoing conversation, right? At the federal level, it's an ongoing conversation, and we are not giving up on it. But like I've said, we're a federation, it has to be a negotiation. It has to be, it's not just a pronouncement. Nobody can just make a pronouncement. There has to be constitutional changes that has to happen, for all of that to happen. So, and we have a functional neighborhood watch. These are 6,000-7,000 men that are in the nooks and crannies of the state, and we also want to improve that number because we have seen the efficiency of their work, and we have seen the benefits. LASTMA will continue to raise the bar. LASTMA will continue to remain relevant, and LASTMA will continue to ensure that their responsibility in the state are kept in focus. We'll continue to train LASTMA. We'll continue to ensure that we give them all the right skills and the right instruments and equipment to be able to discharge their responsibility without fear or favor. Why can't we have Lagos here? Shokombai, it is in the works. These are part of the topic. You know, we want to under-promise and over-deliver. It's been in our works. Deputy will tell you, I've been working on it for the past 4 or 5 months, but I don't want to make an announcement until I have clarity. And for us, it's also very strategic. If we're planning to build an airport, it just makes sense that we also have an airline that will also be a hub for the airport. But our plan is that we just don't want to go the way of others. We have done rail, we have done waterways, we have done road. The only thing that is remaining for us is air. And by the grace of God, we will have it. We'll be discussing it, but it's more, around the operationalization of it as against the finance of it. So we need to get it right.
The conversation continues with other senatorial districts across the state, and the state government promises to implement the themes plus development agenda for the benefit of the people.
Now let's turn our attention to revenue generation. This time, the Lagos State government has announced its plan to increase the collection of taxes from non-taxable internally generated revenue from 18% to 40%. This is according to the Special Advisor of the Office of Internal Audit, Mrs. Oyeyemi Ayola, who was speaking during a 5-day training program for state government officials at Alausa. Take a look.
24 internal auditors of the Lagos State government converge on Necker House, Alausa Ikeja, to undergo a 5-day training program that will improve their technology skills in auditing and guarding against leakages and non-tax internally generated revenue. The training, organized by the Office of Internal Audit in collaboration with the University of Calgary, Alberta, Canada, is to help the auditors carry out their tasks optimally.
We are looking at a system where auditors can, from hand to hand, look at the revenue process and make it more effective, and by so doing, increase the revenue of the state. We have several non-taxable revenue, like the SC has mentioned. You have the land use, we have in different ministries that generate revenue. You have the ones that are because of fines and infractions, what you have to pay for distorting the plans of Lagos.
For the Special Advisor Office of Internal Audit, Mrs. Oyeyemi Ayola, she says the government is set to boost collection of taxes from 18% to 40%.
Most agencies, ministries, departments and agencies are into collection of non-taxable revenue. This revenue we're talking of fines, we are talking of fees, we are talking of the land use charge collections, we are talking of fines you pay to Lagos State Traffic Management Authority when you break the law. So those are the non-taxable revenue, examples of the non-taxable revenue that we are talking about, being collected by ministries, departments and agencies. The mission of this training is a skill set training, raising revenue system audit champions that will be able to audit through the system on a daily basis on the collection from the point of revenue enumeration, revenue billings, and revenue payment into banks. And the internal auditors will be able to give assurance on all this revenue, non-taxable revenue collection. Ultimately, is aimed at improving the non-taxable revenue, increasing it from the present around 16% to 40% collection through through oversight by the internal auditors.
Expanding the state government revenue is a major priority, one that the Office of Internal Audit is ready to achieve.
We'd like to have the auditors going through the process of revenue collection management, looking at it each level by level, and ensuring that gaps within the systems are closed, if not completely eliminated, to ensure that the desired results of making the state generate the enough revenue to collaborate with other stakeholders and achieve that. So we expect this training to actually bring this result.
Out of 425 internal auditors of Lagos State Government, these 24 auditors have been carefully selected to lead the process of revenue systems audit cycle and help achieve the Lagos development goals.
And finally on the program, we now bring you the concluding part of the ongoing construction of the new Massey Children's Hospital, where the contractors in charge give details of the structural aspect of the building.
Lagos, the nation's commercial nerve center, is ever busy with economic activities. A major area of the state and perhaps the most popular, Lagos Island covers an area of 8.7 kilometers square, lying on Lagos Lagoon, a large protected harbor on the coast of Africa. Adeniji Adele is a section nestled in the heart of the island. It's where the ongoing construction of the new Massey Children's Hospital is located. A giant project embarked upon by the administration of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu to specifically address pediatric issues. Site workers are engaged with the tasks on ground as the project engineer takes time to showcase the progress of work.
At this moment, we have already completed the substructure. We have completed the pipe cap, the ground floor. We have completed the first floor. We are at the second floor right now. At this moment, if you look around, we are almost 90% completion for the second floor slab. And we have already started the second floor columns, about to start the third floor. And beneath at the ground floor, we have started the architectural work, the block settings, and MEP work that is associated with it. So we are planning to go to the 8th floor. And by this time next year, we should have completed all the structural work. Then we'll be talking about the finishing, the architectural finish. This is a typical flat slab. So if you look at these are the columns, the structural members. These are the slab and the beams. So at each of the columns, that's what we call the column head. Those for the punchy shears around the columns that will come. And this slab you see is a 300 mm thickness slab. So, and each of these reinforcements are laid. We have 125 spacing, wide 12, bottom, both ways, and 150 spacing, top, 300 mm thickness. That's what we have there.
Safety on site is a major priority, bearing in mind that every worker must be well kitted before starting the day's job.
The construction job is filled with various hazards on site. And it is pertinent that the HSE has a pivotal role to play when it goes to construction. Now we've made sure that everybody works here safely. We have a goal, and that goal is that come here, work safely, and go back safely. So that is the goal that we have on ground, and we follow it up to ensure that the ISO PPE standard is being followed here, where you can't just gain access to the site without putting on the right PPE. And what is PPE? Personal protective equipment. You have the helmet, the hand glove, the safety boot, the reflective, everything that you have to do, that you have to wear personally to protect you on site. That has been put in place. What my men are actually doing here is what we call the guide rail. Guide rail are meant, to protect people from falls. Whenever you have a pit or a rounding around on site, installation of guide rail is pertinent. With this, one will know that there's a pit there, and the scaffolders are doing the needful to ensure that these guide rails are installed.
An elevator and staircase is incorporated into the project design, which is also connected to a dedicated 9-story building car park for the hospital with over 300 vehicle capacity.
We have different types of columns to these structures. There are some of them that are 30 bars, 25 mm steel. Some of them are 26, some of them are 24, the list we have so far. And the 750 by 750 columns. These columns are the main structural members that transmit the load from the top, from the column to the slab and to the beam, right to the foundation. So this is one of the columns. We have 8 lifts here. Lift 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 8. So this is lift 1, lift 2 is 2 passengers lift. Over there is lift 3. This is lift 1, lift 2. That's lift 3. We have lift 4. We have over there at the back, turn around, you see. That's lift 5. This is staircase. So that's the staircase wall. It's an RCC wall. All these our lifts are all RCC members. They are RCC walls. And these walls are well reinforced. We have 16 mm both ways at 150 mm spacing. That's our walls here. This place now, this structural member, we have 12 mm both ways, 125 spacing bottom. At the top, we have 150 spacing, 12 mm. Then at these columns, where we have the punchy shears, so we have extra bars of 20 mm. These 20 mm are 4 meter by 4 meter. So what we have here is a strong structural reinforced slab and reinforced buildings.
In this project, in the ground floor here, we have the water tank system, and you can see this entrance like this is the entrance. This is the entrance down to the 9th floor, and then the other side you have the exits. This is our 1st floor. Here is some offices where you have your ticketing, the stores, and some other things. Also, if you go inside, you see the staircase and also the lift. Here is the ramp where cars come in and they can park anywhere within, and also they can use the staircase or the lift. And the beautiful thing is this floor also connects to the hospital direct, that if anybody comes to park in the 9th floor or 8th floor, you don't need to come all the way down before you get to the hospital. It connects from the 3rd floor, and the 9th floor connects to the other building.
All construction materials, including the blocks molded on site for the project, are being certified by the State Building Control Agency. The State Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, assures Lagosians of the quality of work, all tied into the ultimate goal to make Lagos a place to receive quality healthcare services.
Starting from the foundation, because of the height of this structure, it has to be piling, and there are 657 piles anchoring the main hospital and the multi-level car park. There are about 500 piles for the main hospital and about 157 for the multi-level car park. It took us a long time to make sure that we had the right integrity for the piling, which forms the foundation of this hospital. Subsequently, between the project manager, the contractors, the Ministry of Works, the Ministry of Health, and our material testing laboratories in Lagos, everything that goes into the building goes through scrutiny. So even these iron steel columns, we take samples of them to material testing. We look at the caliber, we look at the tensile strength, and it goes through those kinds of checks on quality to make sure that the contractors are using the right material at all times. There's a log of all the integrity tests that are going on. Even the concrete, every piece of concrete that is mixed, they make a concrete block and they keep it. And that block is sent again to material testing for compression test. And unless the compression is absolutely correct, it is not utilized on the building. It's a massive building. It's going to stand into posterity. Mr. Governor is absolutely critical about the integrity. As government, we can't be building anything that has an integrity flaw. We are building the benchmark best. Everybody must take a key from what government is doing. It's a two-pronged approach. Universal healthcare coverage, where everybody in Lagos has access to a basic minimum package of healthcare delivery. We're doing that through our primary healthcare structures, our Lagos State Health Insurance Scheme, which is now mandatory. The new law says that everybody in Nigeria must have a social health insurance scheme. In Lagos, we have Ilera Eko. We are already domesticating that law. Mr. Governor has signed the executive order, and we're about to make modifications to the law to make sure that if you are in Lagos Just like if you drive a car, you must have car insurance. If you're in Lagos, to protect yourself and to deliver that universal healthcare coverage, you must have a basic minimum healthcare insurance package, which we call Ilera Eco. You can have anything else you want on top of that, but you must have that package. And then our 2052 Lagos State Development Plan says that we must make Lagos one of the top 5 destinations for medical tourism. What we're trying to do really is to stop or discourage Lagosians and Nigerians from going abroad. That's the first thing. Anything you want, you should be able to get it in Lagos or Nigeria.
The upcoming new Massey Children's Hospital expected to be delivered by end of next year, and this undoubtedly will change the face of Adenija Adele and make Lagos State a one-stop destination for quality healthcare services.
That's it for this week's edition of the program Dateline Lagos. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. Remember to always obey all state laws and stay safe. Bye for now.